Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek, and welcome to day 20 of my 31 days of Halloween reviews. Today I have a treat, well at least I think it's a treat, we'll see what you think of it, but especially after yesterday's video, yesterday we looked at the Vertigo's House of Mystery Halloween Annual, #1, and it was a great read. Well, I wouldn't say a great read. It was a fun read. If you watched yesterday's video, I'll link to it up there in the right-hand corner. I especially enjoyed the final story by Matt Wagner. But the problem that I had with those stories were that they weren't really stories. They were more like snapshots or sketches, all set within a decent framing story as far as framing stories go. But, I'm a writer myself, and I've studied writing and the craft of writing, and I write fiction on my own, and I appreciate a good arc, a good plot, a good character-driven plot. And I'm not a big fan of sketches. I know there is an audience for that, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with a sketch, but I just prefer a good arc. So today I have that. I sought out something similar to the Vertigo Halloween Annual because I wanted to kind of redeem my experience a little bit. So I chose for today Grimm Fairytales Halloween Special from 2016, last year. And this is by Zenoscope. If you're unfamiliar with Zenoscope, they do all of the great Grimm Fairytale stories. They've been doing it for years now, and I really enjoy them, actually. Some of them are better than others, but I enjoy a number of things about their Grimm Fairytales. Of course, the social justice crowd hates these because, they're just all, objectifying women or whatever. I don't believe they are. I think they're definitely trying to draw sexy figures. I mean, that's that. But I think that the Zenoscope is unapologetically idealizing the forms that they draw. And I think that's what comic books should do, because comic books hail from everything from Greek and Roman art all the way back to cave paintings on the wall. And our art for our mythologies has always been about idealizing the form, male and female. That's just part of the mythology, part of the medium, and I'm glad to have Zenoscope has consistently, ever since their beginning, they've consistently put out this, I want to say it's realistic looking, but it's not. I mean, the forms are idealized, but the style of art is realism, if that makes sense. Let me try and explain. So it's really popular nowadays, and I hate it. I really do hate it. For all of the art, all the mainstream comic book art nowadays is really stylized. It's not realistic. You'll have like square faces. You'll have, just bizarre proportions sometimes. It's just all stylized as opposed to a realism. It's more expressionist kind of stuff. And even in the good comic books, like the DC Rebirth comic books that I've been enjoying really for the most part, even a lot of those have that same kind of, not so much the Superman titles, which I appreciate, but like Flash, for example, Flash or some of the other titles just have this weird art. I don't know, not really crazy about it. But Zenoscope is always stuck with a realistic type art. And then the idealized forms, of course. And the other thing I loved about their Grimm Fairytales line, and they've kept this up even till today with the changes and the developments they've made, but people always talk about how the original Grimm Fairytales were so much more brutal than the more child-safe versions we have today. And people usually say that as though they're somehow superior, and don't even get me started. Any people knocking my Disney. I'm a big Disney nerd and love that. But yeah, the Grimm Fairytales were far more brutal. They were for a different time, for a different audience. But they don't quite ring as true to us today. For example, I enjoy reading Bruno Bettelheim. He's a psychoanalytic theorist, and he wrote a great treatise on fairy tales, and he really talks about the functions and the things that they do for children, and the anxieties and things they help children work out by hearing these stories. And I think he was definitely onto a lot there. But our culture's changed, and he was writing way back when. But our culture's changed so much nowadays that the versions of the Grimm Fairytales as they were, I don't think they can still achieve all of those functions, because our culture is so different, and a lot of the things that they talk about aren't as understood today as they would have been before. Now, the Zenoscope's Grimm Fairytales are not for children by any means, definitely not for children, but for an adult audience still kind of working out those ideas, I think it's a really great interpretation, it's a really great Yeah, I guess interpretation is the word. It's a really great recontextualization and interpretation to our culture of these stories. So it does play fast and loose, and it changes things all over the place. But I think it really does a great job of achieving the effect quite often. And as I said, I haven't read every single Zenoscope title, but I really enjoy a lot of them. Today they have a group of characters that they've developed who all come into play into this 2016 Halloween special. They've developed a group of basically superheroes, really, out of these fairy tale characters, and they've gender swapped a lot of them, so they're women. But it's not like, again, it's not like a social justice type of gender swapping. It really works. It's really nice. So Robin of Locksley, basically Robin Hood, is a woman, and she is serving as a superhero in New York City in her Robin Hood garb and everything. So basically like a female Green Arrow. Little Red Riding Hood is out there doing her thing. There's Avril Williams, who's a witch, very much like a fairy tale witch. And then Van Helsing. I think it's Van Helsing's daughter. I forgot exactly how what the story is behind that. But they're four major characters who are basically Zenoscope's fairy tale superheroes. They're in modern day contemporary world and doing their thing. This Halloween special has all four of those girls together at Robin's house in New York City, her apartment there. They're sitting out on the stoop, and they're handing out candy for Halloween night. And they're just having sort of a girls' night, having fun. They've got their wine out there with them, and they're handing out candy to the kids. The kids are really excited to come meet Robin. Many of them are dressed up as Robin Hood, and so she's enjoying that little bit of celebrity and everything, and they're all good friends palling around. And at some point they decide to tell each other ghost stories. So each one tells a little story. And it's a single issue, so I think it's 40 pages. So none of the stories are very long. And this is what I meant at the beginning, how I really appreciated the way this book is stylized. There is a true art to the tale. I mean, what I mean by a tale is a very, very short story, like a fairy tale, for example, but very short. And these tales in here that they tell each other are just maybe 4 pages long, if even that, or something like that. So there's a real art to tell a good tale. I actually for my MFA degree, I did my graduate lecture on the art of the tale and what rules go into writing the tale and how you need to think and approach a tale as opposed to a general short story where you have more room to flesh things out and you want to achieve some different goals. The tale is all about effect. It's one of the reasons why I love Edgar Allan Poe, because he really nailed that idea. So many writers, many short story writers and novelists even have used the tale. The tale's a legit genre, and I really like how this comic book issue uses that. So we have the framing story of all the girls there together handing out candy at Halloween night, but they're telling each other these stories. And I won't ruin any of the stories because I really, really highly recommend this story. I picked it up on Comixology because I have a bunch of stuff listed that I'm going to cover for the rest of the month, but I just really wanted something like this tonight to follow yesterday's video. And this just fit the bill perfectly. So I found it on Comixology. I'm actually a member of Comixology's Unlimited program, so you can read a bunch of their titles for free that they have in that program. You can borrow them, they call it, and download them. So I think this was one of those titles actually, but even if not, it's only, $1 or $2. It's incredibly worth it. It's a great read. If you, if it looks interesting to you, you're looking at the art and everything throughout the video. So if this kind of thing looks, interesting to you, if you're interested in fairy tales and folklore and you kind of miss the idealized art and you kind of maybe a little tired of all this stylized expressionist, nonsense that's going around today, especially for women. Writers are just afraid to draw women in any kind of attractive manner. And I get that, you don't want to, objectify to the point of hurting the story and just making it seem, like the women are just two-dimensional and there's no character to them. And I'm totally on board with that. But these characters, they have it all. I mean, they can be drawn incredibly idealized, but they are strong characters. They've got good three-dimensional qualities to them, and they're characters you enjoy following. So a lot to offer. Like I said, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, from whatever angle, this is a great story, and really pay attention to those short stories they tell, those tales. And I should talk more about the tales on this channel. I'll definitely do that after this Halloween 31 Days of Halloween reviews is up, because I really appreciate that form, and it's just so magical when you can tell a good, tight tale as opposed to a story, and it's just it really it's like packs a full punch right in the face with the effect. So, and these stories do that really well. There's little twists and turns. They're not exactly what you expect. They play with conventions, so they help you to question your expectations and questions the things that you hold to normally. So they're just really, it's a really great genre, and this issue does it very well. So short video for today, but again, I just wanted to follow up yesterday's. Have a lot of great stuff coming up, including some more Batman stuff, some more Archie's related stuff, definitely some more Marvel horror, and lots of good stuff. We still have many days left of this October of 2017 until we get to Halloween, and then I have a special treat for Halloween Day as well. So do remember the giveaway. You can check yesterday's video at the end. I got the details there. I don't want to go over it in every single video, but are giving away a comic book issue, so check into that. Please share the video with friends. Tell people that you know about the channel who might be interested. That's the best way to help me grow. It just takes some time to keep being consistent and bring people into the channel with YouTube's algorithms and whatnot, and what it shows people and what it doesn't. But we're getting there. So I appreciate all the fans, appreciate all the commenting and the support and encouragement. And until tomorrow, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the superhero and Halloween stories you love. Thanks for watching.